morning and welcome to today's almost daily devotional. We're going to read from Psalm 78, starting with the 23rd verse. God gave orders to the skies above, opened heaven's doors, and rained manna on them so they could eat. He gave them the very grain of heaven. Each person ate the bread of the powerful ones. God sent provisions to satisfy them. God set the east wind moving across the skies and drove the south wind by his strength. He rained meat on them as if it were dust in the air. He rained as many birds as the sand on the seashore. God brought the birds down in the center of their camp, all around their dwellings. So they ate and were completely satisfied. God gave them exactly what they had craved. I love going on mission trips. I do. I think they're fantastic. And this passage reminds me of why I love going on mission trips. When we remove ourselves from our familiar settings, when we remove ourselves from the place that we see every day, and we go to a place that's different, that we think of as lacking because that's why we're going. If they had everything they needed, we wouldn't be going on a mission trip. It'd be a vacation, right? So when we go to a place that we see as deficient or undeveloped or lacking in resources, we can often go with an attitude of paternalism, of privilege, of saying, I'm going to teach these people who don't know anything a little bit. I'm going to help them. And it's going to make me feel better about myself. And they're going to be better people. And there's some of that. Sure, we're going to build a ramp that will help people go up get it, have access to a building they may not have access for. That is a tangible benefit. But what I find most often happens in mission trips is that we hear stories of faith. And this psalm is nothing if not a story of faith, of a reminder of who God is and how God acts in the world. And oftentimes church people go on these mission trips and they come back changed because they see faith, a deep faith that doesn't rely on material blessings. They see people who have a vitality of faith. And those who go on mission trips, it's difficult. You have to go with an attitude of being open to this possibility of being changed, of hearing the stories, of understanding how God has been at work, even in the midst of an environment we see as lacking. What the people discover on mission trips is that the faith of these Christians in this backwards place, this lacking place, can actually be a fountain of hope. That our capacity for seeing God at work in our lives is expanded by the way that these people can see God at work in the nothing that they have. And so when the mission people return home, they're often on fire for God. They're often on fire with their faith, and it changes them, these stories that they hear. It makes them see their world differently. Suddenly, we see God as an intrinsic part of the simplicity of life and of our faith. How do we see God at work in those small places?